all correctly set. So, hey guys, Spamwaits here. Haven't done this in forever, but this chair is bothering me so much. You can see me just moving my chair like crazy. Well, either this is gonna work or not. My chair, that is. Everything else should be fine. I do need to charge this iPad because I'm not gonna go far. I promise you that I won't go far without a charge like that. Honestly, it would be better, but hey guys, Spamlights here. Welcome to Chuck and Talk Thursday. My camera looks a little bit high, so I'm going to lower it a little bit. Take a drink. Let's get a job. We'll start driving for a bit. I said get a job, not drive. Thanks, Daryl. It's been a while. Hopefully you guys tune in for Monday stream. I came back streaming. This week I'm just gonna be talking about my whole trip. That's basically what I'm gonna do, and then I'm probably gonna get off because I'm pretty tired. I think I'm still experiencing jet lag right now. Like, it's terrible. Like, I'm still tired right now. I've only got like 6 hours of sleep because I had to go somewhere. I had to go somewhere with my friend. I had to go to a job fair with my friend. Came home at 3. Tried to took a nap. Yet I'm still tired as of this day. So yeah, I really don't want to drive down that way. I really don't want to drive that way either. Kind of don't want to drive to Great Britain anymore. I wanted to go north. I'm gonna go to Nordy. Lublin, no. I'm gonna go to Poland. Nah. So pretty much there's gonna be a drive to I'm gonna be just explaining basically what has happened in the past 4 weeks because it's been that long and I'm finally back to streaming again. At least streaming. I need to turn these cameras faster. Whee! Oh shit. Okay. I wanna see if I could make this go faster if I can. Options. Controls? Controls. Clutch, look up, look down. Hopefully this goes faster. I hope it does. Good enough. So let's just start. Since it's been more than a month ago, and I should probably send out a tweet. I keep forgetting about that. Well. Could tell I'm kind of not into it, but I'm gonna do it anyways because I've been wanting to go back to streaming anyways. Ah, come on! Phone, I hate you. Why do you keep like changing the keyboard when I delete something? Okay, that should work. So about my trip. I think I've talked about it before, but me and my parents have been ready ever since. Prior to the trip, packed and all that stuff, so we just had to just be ready to go. And Sunday rolled around. I was watching some videos, waiting for the inevitable 12 o'clock noon time to leave for a 1 o'clock flight. 1 o'clock in the morning flight. Should be specific because there's a difference between an hour and 13 hours right there. Um, but yeah, we left the house around 12 noon for a 1 o'clock in the morning flight. Pretty early if I say so myself, but that's how it is. Okay, come on, there we go. Okay, it's pretty early, but we managed to get there by about around 2, because there's some nominal traffic, like some traffic. There's my enter button. Some traffic going to the Bay Area, going to SFO, which is where we were going to fly to the Philippines. There we go. So, managed to get there, and it was a really interesting process trying to park the car and get our bags. Come on, let's go into lower gear and then start revving up. There we go. Yeah, just to drop off our bags, drop off the car at the long-term parking, because we decided to park over there instead, and then be on our merry way to the check-in to airport like that. My dad's intention was to drop off the bags with my mom, and only my mom. This gets important. This is important. Drop off the bags with my mom and only my mom, and then drive the car to the long-term parking, park it there, ride the shuttle bus back, and all that stuff. Sounds easy, right? Well, my mom has a pretty small bladder, and by the time we got to the airport, she really wanted to go right after unloading the bags. Honestly, she should have went as we were unloading the bags, but I don't know what happened there. So, and with most airports, usually you're not supposed to really park there. You're supposed to just drop off and go. So I had to wait my mom to come back from the restroom, which is pretty far from this airport, which is pretty far in the airport. So it's a pretty long walk, and my mom's a pretty slow walker, so she uses the restroom, she comes back, probably, and meanwhile my dad is just driving ever so slowly before the police decides to get him because he's parked there when you're not supposed to be parked. Again, you're supposed to just move on and go. I'm also hoping audio is great. Otherwise, explaining this first part of the story probably would have done absolutely nothing. So my throat is very itchy. Why is my throat very itchy? I don't want my dashboard. I actually want to see me. Come on. I'm probably going to get an ad myself. Come on. Probably going to get an ad myself. Nope. Okay, good. And you're probably going to hear that over again. Sorry about that, folks. Thank you, Mike, for actually working for once. I honestly didn't want the stress of trying to figure stuff out. So my dad is just driving around. I'm waiting for my mom. Once my mom got out of the restroom, I ran straight to the car and then went to the long-term parking. Got in. It's pretty easy to get in because I already had a reservation. Haven't paid for it. This place you can pay for it when you come back, which makes sense. You don't want to fully prepay your own thing and then realize that, oh, you're short or you've overpaid. So we pay when coming back, but I had a reservation. We just scanned our thing, go. Shuttle bus was waiting for us, surprisingly. I didn't expect that. Like, we parked, and then, like, literally a minute later, shuttle bus showed up for just a bus for me and my dad going to the airport. So we went to the airport, managed to finish all of that by, like, 3. So that means it's 8 hours of waiting. However, us three were not the only ones traveling. My brother was also going to travel as well with us to the Philippines. Albeit he was only going to be there for 2 weeks. Me and my parents were there for about 3.5. But he was traveling the same day, same flight, so everything would be all great. So we waited for him. He came around like 6 o'clock from Texas. Flew all the way from Austin, if I recall correctly, all the way to San Francisco. Picked up his bag, and we all met up together at the departures. Waiting for the check-in desk to open at EVA at EVA Airways, they say EVA Airways. I'm pretty sure everyone else call it EVA, but it's EVA, which is interesting. I wonder what it means. Should really look that up, actually. At EVA Airways, the check-in desk opens at 8, so we still had to wait a little bit of time. In my mind, I was thinking food might be cheaper on the other side of security, so we waited for dinner. So we waited until we checked in, got through security, and then have dinner there. Boy, I was wrong. But waited for about 2 more hours till the EVA Airways check-in desk was open, and then we checked in. It was interesting because me, my mom, and dad already has seats going all the way to Manila via Taipei and back to San Francisco. My brother, on the other hand, doesn't. At least it wasn't a full flight, so he was able to snag a seat right behind us, thankfully. Though it's funny because I think the other passenger that was behind me, where they were sitting, I was on the window seat, my brother was sitting at the aisle seat behind us. I think I remember the passenger saying, I was like, I thought I was going to be the only one on this row. Apparently not. So that was a bit funny. But hey, at least they got a seat. There was no one in the middle, so they got 2 seats for a 3-seater. I wonder what they did with that middle seat. But managed to get all booked, checked in. It's pretty good. Got all checked in and such at around like 9. So we had about like 4 hours. Boarding time was around midnight actually. Midnight 30? Midnight 30. So 12:30. So we had like about 3.5 hours to go. So I'll still be waiting for a while. Why is this closed off? Oh, okay. So got about 3.5 hours. So we settled ourselves, tried to get dinner, which was the most expensive dinner I ever had in an airport. I didn't expect after the gates to be that expensive. I usually think it's like relatively cheaper, but man, I was so wrong. I also thought there was going to be like better food choices after security, which TSA security at that time, going through TSA security, wasn't so bad, only because I think we were one of the only few flights left that night to leave. On one side of the terminal. I think if it was on the other side of the terminal, because there's 2 terminals for the international passengers in San Francisco, if it were in the other terminal, it probably would have been packed, because Philippine Airlines flies in that terminal, and they fly roughly the same time, if not earlier, than EVA Airways. EVA has 2 flights as well, going to Taipei for connections to everywhere in Asia, apparently, as I've noticed. But they run 2 flights. But they weren't that booked. I'm pretty sure if it was Philippine Airlines, probably been super booked, especially since it's Holy Week. So it would probably been very, very busy. At least on our terminal, it wasn't. So that's good. Hello, I can turn. So managed to get through TSA actually pretty easily. It wasn't too stressful. Yeah, I know you have to take off your shoes, take off every kind of metal thing, accessory on your body, around your body, like that. But it wasn't too stressful. Again, at least there wasn't much flights leaving that night on the international terminal, so everything was okay. But got in, had a very expensive dinner, which I thank my brother for actually paying for that. Because, that's really, really expensive over there. Highly suggest eating before you get to the airport, or do it before departures, or do it before security, because I think it's relatively cheaper if you buy food before security than after. I'm learning my lesson now. The next time I travel international over in SFO, San Francisco. So, got a pretty expensive dinner, and after that, I decided to walk around. My parents and my brother decided to just sit around, wait for the flight. I decided to walk around whatever's around there in the airside terminal, watching planes go by, taxiing away to the runway, which sadly didn't get a view of the runway. Otherwise, that would have been nice, just seeing planes flying in and out. Because, yeah, I'm not much of an aviation geek, but seeing planes fly and just looking at planes, it looks nice. I'm not an av geek, but I'm definitely a transportation geek, so I have some geekism in airplanes. So I was just looking around, waiting for time to pass until we went down to the boarding gate about like 11:30 because boarding was at 12. It'd be great to be close to the boarding gate, so once it's ready to board, you're all ready, set, and everything. And then the inevitable happened. It decided to be delayed because cleaning staff and ground staff in general was just not ready to deploy this plane for service. I only make it sound like that because I like to be stupid, but both ground staff and cleaning staff was not ready, or probably was in the process of just cleaning the plane. So we were delayed for about like 30 minutes, first 30 minutes, and then an hour. They didn't really start boarding till about closer to 1, if not at 1, because for EVA Airways, it's when it comes to boarding, you board in groups. Truck, what the hell are you doing? Come on. Ah, shit. I need to go in there too. Crap. Let me put this camera down. Maybe that would help. Come on. Okay. I want to see anyone texts me. So it was delayed up to an hour. We didn't board till basically 1. We were the last group to board because they board in groups, and our seat was apparently in the last group. So we boarded last. Thank God they still had bunk space, carry-on space up on their okay, I forgot what it's called already. On their overhead bins. There you go. I told you. I'll remember it one day. But they had space, so no one had to actually check in bags. So everything was fine. Got onto the plane. Now, if you haven't ever seen me in full body, hopefully one day you do, but I'm not going to show myself here because it's just weird. I'm a pretty big guy. I'm pretty chub. I'm also decently tall at around 5'11", 6 foot. I never really figured out where it is really, but I know I'm close to 6 foot. So I was worrying about trying to fit into economy seats. Oh yeah, there was like a few things I was worrying about, and I totally forgot about this. I was also worrying about baggage stuff, especially for carry-on, because I've heard that EVA Airways is really strict on carry-on policy. But everyone managed to get their carry-on bags through, get them checked, looked at, so we can actually go for carry-on approval. And since I was also carrying a laptop, I actually carried a second bag. They said it was fine, so thank God. Also, I brought this with me to the Philippines, and I realized I'm blocking the mic between the process. Sorry, car. I brought this to the Philippines because I wanted a pillow, and my God, this was a great pillow to have in the Philippines when going to sleep. Anyways, now going forward to the slight seating problem. I was a bit scared that I wouldn't be able to fit in the economy seat. Lo and behold, I managed to fit. A bit snug, but I managed to fit, so that's great. It's just that thank you, Dad, for making a joke saying that I wouldn't be able to fit in an economy seat, and saying the next time we fly, we decide to get business seats. But one day I want to, because I've watched YouTube videos about people riding in business class for many of these planes, and they look really nice regardless of the airline they ride. So one day, if I have the money, I will want to fly business, Trans-Pacific. That'd be great. That'd be cool. Sponsor me. I'm kidding. I managed to fit in the seat. Everything was great. Everything was like all set and ready, and be ready for a 13-hour flight all the way to Taipei. Everyone got on. Doors closed. We taxied to the runway. Everything was fine and dandy. Realizing that we were actually the last plane to fly out of San Francisco that night, because it was close to 2 in the morning, and airport does kind of close for a few hours just for people around the area to go get some sleep before they start landing planes again, which makes sense. Also because there's also hotels there as well, and I would not want to be hearing planes 24/7 while I'm in a hotel, unless if it has good noise isolation. So, last plane to fly out of San Francisco. I know there was, I think, 2 planes that flew into San Francisco that night. I guess they were delayed as well. Ooh, that's close. Ooh, that was close. Okay. I'm staying in this lane. But last plane to fly out, and managed to fly out, get out of there smoothly. Now, the only one slight problem I had with the seat, not much for the comfort, a little bit of the comfort, but that's economy, you can't really ask for much, was that the seat choice was pretty poor, at least to the travel agency that booked it for us. They gave us seats smack dab in the middle of the plane, which could be good because you probably get served food first in economy. That's what happened for us. But that means you're gonna be literally on the wing of the plane. So you barely get to see anything, and when we took off, the plane flew a little bit westward towards the Pacific coast, so you actually had a really nice night view of San Francisco, the San Francisco skyline and the bridges. And if I sat in the back, I would have probably got a nice clear shot of that, but sadly there was the wing. Try to get a clear shot as best as I can, and once I actually did find a spot after like a few minutes, about a minute or two fiddling around, we were into the clouds and got cloudy, and yeah. Well, we flew off, we took off, started flying all the way to Taipei, which for those who are wondering where they fly, because they have an interactive map on these planes nowadays, yay. Their path was going up above the Pacific coast, all the way up to Canada, all the way to Alaska, cross over to Russia, not so close to the Arctic, but like at the very south end of the Arctic, the very south, the southern tip of the Arctic, going through there, straight through Japan, and then to Taiwan, and then from there it'd be great. 13 hours, because I think that's like the best path they can take. I think most of the headwinds goes eastward, so most of the wind blows east, so it usually will take a little bit longer, because oddly enough it only takes about like 11 hours to fly back to San Francisco from Taipei, because headwinds are a thing. Come on, guys, move. So 13 hours, after the first 2 hours of finally getting up to the right altitude, they started serving a very, 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 very late dinner. Technically dinner, because it's adjusted to, I don't know if it's adjusted to Taiwanese time or actually San Francisco time. Pretty sure it's San Francisco time, only because they serve it 2 hours into the flight. Got the good old airplane food, which wasn't so bad. They did have an Asian option because it's an Asian airliner. However, they didn't have the greatest rice. Bit too dry. Very dry, actually. Actually, some parts did get burnt, so that microwave was pretty strong. But got the food, ate the food, and all I wanted to do from there on out was try and sleep. Because 13 hours, what the heck do you do for 13 hours on a red-eye flight? Basically red-eye flight, because it's all nighttime, and the sun's basically behind you. So pretty much all you can do is sleep, especially, it will only make more sense to just go to sleep on that flight, because it's already 2, 3 in the morning, 3 o'clock, or actually 4 in the morning after dinner, so you just want to go to sleep. And so I tried. I think I managed to like get about 4 to 6 hours of staggered sleep, only because it's an airplane and I'm not flying business class, where they got some nice comfortable seats, I hope. They look comfortable when I walk through it. I wish I took pictures, but they look comfortable. So try to get some sleep in it. I think I woke up about halfway through the flight because there was like about 7 hours left. Decided to open my window because it's mostly dark. I don't expect the sun to catch up, and it didn't, but it had a very nice horizon line. I should highly suggest, if you haven't followed me on Instagram, do follow me on Instagram. Links will be down below. I'll also provide a link at the very end of the stream through chat. I remember that was being my first few photos when I landed in Taipei. The horizon line where the sun was rising was so beautiful. Flying up above the stratosphere, with not much clouds up there, and just seeing the sunrise, the horizon is amazing. It looks so cool. It was great. At least I wasn't blinded by the sun, thank God. But got up there, looked at it, looked outside. I think about 7 hours left in the flight. We're probably probably about halfway through the Pacific Ocean in terms of the north side. So basically between Alaska and Russia. About 2 hours time, we're about to cross Japan and straight through Japan, seeing the flight path. I was a bit jealous because not only we're on the wing, but we're on the wrong side. Because 2 hours later, when I decided to take another nap, I woke up. We were crossing through Japan, and I bet the people on the left side were having a great view since it was still clear in the morning for Japan. Not much clouds. I think they were able to see Mount Fuji up in the plane, and I'm a bit jealous that I wasn't able to see that. So next time, if you ever fly over Trans-Pacific, especially from San Francisco, I'm pretty sure all other flights actually do go up that way. I could be wrong. Check the flight itineraries. Check the flight number through on the online, and then see the radar and see where to go. But definitely for SFO, they do fly over Japan. I'm pretty sure and if you're not going to Japan, I'm pretty sure you'll see Mount Fuji over there. Sit on the left side. So, flying over Japan, saw a little bit of Japan. Don't get me wrong, I did. It was also sunrise. Not like fully sunrise, but horizon line just bright enough, but not too bright to where it blinds your eyes. Saw like some islands of Japan over there, as well as the mainland. Sadly, southern Japan was pretty cloudy, so I wasn't able to see much. But man, I would want to go to Japan one day, and man, whoever sat on the left side probably had really nice views of Fuji to take. And that's what's great about having a flight delayed by about 1 hour. At least flying at 2 o'clock in the morning. In terms of the actual schedule. But by about that time, we're about like 3 hours away once you cross the southern tip of Japan, in not Sapporo, Hokkaido. Hokkaido. Oh, that's north as well. What's south? I'm looking this up. Give me a second. I'm now curious. What is the southern city in? Southernmost city of Japan. No, that's not what I wanted. Southern Japan. I want to be right. That's Osaka. We did actually pass through Tokyo and Osaka by about like 120 kilometers. I think that would be the closest point I ever hit Tokyo and Osaka, actually. Oh yeah, it's Kyushu, but I don't remember what city is in Kyushu. Nagasaki. Was that the one? I think it was Nagasaki. Fukuoka, Nagasaki. Because Sapporo and Hokkaido would be up north, technically. I had that backwards. So yeah, Nagasaki and Nagasaki, yeah, I think that's about right. Because history and Hiroshima and like that. It'd be all down there. Passing through that, and again, probably the closest I've ever seen Japan was through an airplane, unless I've decided to get a round trip flight to Japan sometime soon, but I have a doubt at the moment until I find a job. Closest to Japan and about 3 hours away from Taiwan. So, hello? I should probably see where I'm driving. Okay. Um, Zero is away from Taiwan, so getting pretty close. I know there's a second meal service on that flight because usually for a 12 to 13 hour flight, you usually get 2 meal services, usually breakfast and a dinner. And when going the other way, since coming to Taipei in the morning, you get breakfast because you're following Taipei time. I'm pretty sure for dinner you're following Taipei time too, which would make sense because that's 10 hours ago. Yeah, which would be roughly the right time. So got the Western meal because the Asian meal was rice porridge, and if you're not fancying a rice porridge, you don't get the rice porridge. Get the Western meal, which was microwaved egg and tomato and chicken sausage probably with potatoes and such. It's basically a frozen meal. If you ever tried those cheap frozen meals, breakfast meals, maybe it's slightly more quality, slightly less quality. Up to you to try if you ever go on a Trans-Pacific flight and serves that, or any long distance flight that actually serves that. So it's airplane food. You can't really complain much unless if you're in, I think, business class. You actually do get better food, but you can't complain much. It's food. That's the only sustenance you'll get until you land in Taipei. So after that meal service, we're about 1.5 hours away. Some pretty heavy turbulence during that moment. Oddly enough, throughout that whole flight, there was quite a bit of turbulence. Not like too crazy where it goes like really up and down, but you'd feel the shaking. Yeah, your liquids will be moving around during meal service, but not too much to where it would smell. But definitely some turbulence. Starting to land into Taipei, they start getting ready. They start telling you, it's like, hey, welcome to Taiwan, blah 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 blah. And apparently they really love their pigs, so don't bring any outside agricultural food or anything like that. No, the usual gist is just funny that Taiwan is very concerned with their pigs. But again, what other country is not concerned with their own stuff? So yeah. But it was just funny. I wanted to point it out. I pointed it out to many other people that I told this my trip about. We landed into Taipei, Taiwan, about an hour late. So basically, we still were an hour late no matter what. Oh well. Pilot did try to catch up with some time over when flying, but apparently they couldn't, so that's okay. At least we still had a 4-hour connecting time, 4-hour layover in Taipei. I don't know for like other people, because some people were trying to connect to other Asian cities, and some of them had already left that time, but others were like trying to get like other rebooking and stuff, trying to get them on another flight, I guess, or something, because I guess we were like one of the last flights from the US to show up at that time. My chair is just rolling away as I'm driving. But at least for us, going to Manila wasn't so bad until we realized that it was a full flight. But it was great at first because the gate we transit to after security, which I'm a bit surprised that there is security through transit to transfer flights, for transfer flights. So even though you're transiting in Taiwan to go to another Asian city or wherever, you'd still have to go through security. So be prepared. It's like TSA, just a little bit more lax. Do throw liquids away and all that stuff. Anyway, after through security, walked to our gate, which was apparently the Hello Kitty gate. Go follow me on Twitter. I did post a few photos, albeit maybe one of them blurry, but did post a few photos of the Hello Kitty gate that was bound for Manila, supposedly. I say supposedly because after me and my brother's names got called for her passport check, because apparently something got screwed up in SFO, and they want to get the files correct, like the names and identification correctly, which I don't blame them. If it got confused along the way, that would make sense to try to get that fixed. But after getting that all fixed out and such, We noticed that there was a gate change to a different gate, so goodbye Hello Kitty gate. And hello random boring gate, but everyone had to like move over, and since it was a full flight, I've heard, that was like about 300 people trying to move over to the new gate. Oh boy, that was great. But we all got moved over, and then the flight got delayed about 20 minutes because their ground staff was so hung up with about everything, because while not only a lot of planes fly into Taiwan that morning, a lot of planes were flying out that same morning to Asian cities, so let's not make that turn too sharp. So everything was pretty chaotic in Taipei. Minor delays, that's okay. At least we're in the gate on time. There was not much of a problem there. And then we just waited until boarding time. I was looking out of the window to see some planes go by, realizing that EVA Airways does this Hello Kitty promotion. So some of their planes are tricked out with Hello Kitty merch, and they have a Hello Kitty themed plane both inside and out. Sadly, none of the rides to Manila and back were Hello Kitty themed planes, but I've heard that there's going to be one flight from San Francisco to Taipei and back will be Hello Kitty themed sometime in October, and I kind of wish I was flying to Taipei or Manila or wherever I am that time just so I could experience that Hello Kitty plane, because who wouldn't want to ride a themed plane? Like, come on now. But waiting, and then we started boarding. A bit chaotic because majority Filipinos already kind of irked that their flight was delayed to Manila. But you know, you win some, you lose some, really. Got on almost the same exact plane, down to the model, but their seating was a bit different. But I still managed to fit, which was great. Got set, taxied out to the runway, which was interesting because apparently one of the taxiways was broken down, so we actually had to go through the runway, on the runway, to get to the holding point, to get back onto the same runway to take off. It's great. Which is super great. But they managed to fly us out. They managed to fly other planes out, and we took off probably about 40 minutes late. Not too bad. Really not too bad. Oh, I must do that. Okay. Let me now actually drive. So, took off. At least not so bad turbulence going up and down, up to Manila, down to Manila, technically because it's south. And the flight was actually fine for a 2-hour flight. We managed to actually got a third meal. I didn't expect them to serve another meal throughout flight, but they did. Albeit it was airplane food. I mean, again, you can't complain because it's airplane food. But done that, walked around a little bit because my legs was already tired. Even though I walked a bit around Taipei Airport, which was pretty cool, pretty Asian, but it makes sense because you're in Asia by then, at that point in time. I was like trying to like keep myself awake, so I just like, kind of walked around, used the restroom, walked around, and then about 2 hours later, managed to. Actually, about an hour later, hour into the flight, but after the meal service, come on, there we go. I can drive when I'm talking, I swear. About that time after the meal service, I noticed we were in the northern tip of the Philippines, and so it was very cool to actually see the Philippines up in the plane with some pretty clear skies actually during that time. Also, it was abnormally dry because the Philippines was experiencing an El Nino, so the El Nino, which means super wet in the States, however super dry in the Philippines. So they were in like a massive drought. Like it's basically like California drought, just all of the Philippines. Ooh, wow, that's a really hard thing to climb. Also, why is this wheel not really staying in? Come on. I'm just gonna keep going. Okay. There we go. But it was really cool to just see the Philippines up in the air, even though about a little bit later I actually do kind of explore the Philippines in a way. Not all of it, but some of it. From there, we're starting to descend down into Manila. A very, very busy Manila, but thank God Manila International Airport, let me just go with that. At least Manila wasn't so busy that day. Oddly enough, I think we were the only flight to fly out. If I can do that. To fly into the Manila. So, started landing. Oh, the thing came off. That's why it's sliding like crazy. Okay. Fix this now. Come on, straighten up. Come on. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna fix my wheel because now it just got loose from its track. Damn it, wheel! Why do you do this to me? Come on. Come on. Come on. Okay. That's more stable. That's more like it. Okay. Fuck it. I don't want to deal with it. It's like, fuck it, I don't want to deal with it. Go driving in Denmark again. Copenhagen. Let's go Copenhagen. Okay. But landed in Manila. Everything was fine. Saw one of the wrecked planes that actually got into an accident. Not really into an accident, but yeah, it got into an accident, but not with another plane. But I guess it was one of the Boeing planes that got massively recalled around the world. There was an accident in Manila in the international right when it was landing. I think that kind of broke itself. I think everyone's fine, but they still have it there. I guess it was still under investigation or something. I don't specifically know, but it was still there. It's interesting to see it's still there. Landed in Manila, bang on time, actually, surprisingly enough. And it was great. So, managed to get out of the plane, got our carry-on bags, got off the plane. Oh yeah, speaking of carry-on, I was told this before. You can tell, I'm having random thoughts and it's hard to like talk and drive at the same time. And stream, because I'm also looking at the camera and trying to make everything look nice. Yeah. A lot of things are going on in my head right now and I'm just not feeling it, but I want to stream anyways. Let's do it. That flight, since it was full, they had some people to gate check some of their carry-on luggage. Thank God it was free. I didn't want to pay for that, but they had to because since it was a full flight, not all the luggage will fit in the overhead compartments. So we decided to gate check some bags, which was okay. It was free, and it will be out ready on the carousel once they start unloading the plane in Manila. Everything was great. Going through immigration was smooth since we were the only plane that landed in that terminal that day. Immigration was smooth. Everything was fine until you get to the baggage claim where everyone's trying to grab carts. And my God, Manila International Airport, please order more carts and provide more carts to patrons because Jesus Christ, Filipinos are savages when they want to get stuff. I know that for the fact for a lot of things, so I wasn't too surprised that there would be a lot of people getting carts, but Manila, get more carts for that terminal. And for those people, please. Thank you. But after getting our luggage, which was a slight hassle, but it wasn't so bad because connecting flight, you're usually one of the first few bags in, especially if you're the last flight connecting. That you're definitely one of the first few bags in the carousel. Got our bags and then headed out to the taxi stand because public transportation's pretty meh in Manila. It's not the greatest. It's not like there's like a network of bus systems and trains and such. Most of it there is just buses. There are also jeepneys and a bunch of other vehicles, but there's no fixated routes, and sometimes it can be a hassle, especially if you're bringing a lot of luggage. So you most likely want to take the taxi. However, in the Philippines, there's like a high rate of let's not carry that. Wrong one. Oh wait, no, I'm the wrong one. Shit. Okay. There's a high rate of taxi scams going on there. Foreigner, not foreigner, whatever. A lot of taxi scams are going around over there. So, especially for airport, taxis come from the airport. They usually can swindle out a lot of money from people, and it's pretty bad. But there is some, there is a government airport sanctioned taxis meant for who will definitely meter over doing flat rate taxi. So we lined up at the meter taxi. We had to get two because we had a lot of luggage and it was for 4 people. So we had to get 2 cars compared to 1 SUV. But we were on our merry way to my grandma's, basically the family house of on my mom's side. Over literally should be 15 minutes away from the airport. But since it's Manila, there's terrible traffic. If you've experienced terrible traffic, you haven't experienced Manila traffic. Unless if you experience Manila traffic, then you know how bad that traffic is. You say it'd probably be worse than LA or SF or anything, or New York, like that. Go to Manila. Experience traffic there. Sometimes when you try to get to places, it'll take you 1 to 2 hours to only go about like 10-15 kilometers. Yeah, it's bad. In any case, managed to get to the place in about like 40 minutes. Even taking toll roads and everything like that. Oh my god, traffic was busy, especially 2 days before. 2 days before, or actually everyone was just traveling home at that point because it was Holy Week, and since Filipinos are pretty religious, they actually would want to be in their hometown for Easter. So most of them were traveling on that Tuesday as well as that Wednesday. So it was busy. Manila was busy. The airports was busy. Everyone was just getting out and getting around. Managed to get to the family house. Said some paid the taxi. They didn't swindle us, which was great. Bit expensive, but it's to be expected. Especially coming from the airport, there's usually a higher fee if you're coming from the airport. But managed to get to the house. Met up with some cousins. Met up with some aunts, uncles that I haven't met in basically 13 years since it has been 13 years since I've been to the Philippines. At least now it's been a week since I've been to the Philippines. Ooh, I can finally say that. But it was great to meet them. I'm starting to miss them. Don't get me wrong. I'm really starting to miss them now. But meeting with them, meeting up with other. No, actually, that didn't happen until the next day. But meeting up with basically all the cousins. Well, most of the cousins. And such, and everything was great. Flying in, everything, that was great. Highly suggest flying EVA if you don't want to fly the parent airline, because sometimes the parent airline is really expensive. EVA Airways is a cheap alternative, and it's actually a pretty decent cheap alternative if you want to fly over there. But the first day we decided to relax, not the first full day, but the first day of actually being there, decided to just relax, try not to do too much. Unpacked, try to get situated. Now, the things with this house is that not all the rooms in the house are air conditioned. It's only a select few rooms. One of the rooms was actually fully occupied at one point, but one of my cousins actually had to go to the hospital because her stomach was just not complying with her. Apparently this has happened before, so she had to go back to the hospital. So that means that room was available since all of them were gone, and we decided to take that room temporarily before they come back. So, oh boy, AC, because, my god, if you go to the Philippines, be prepared to experience a lot of humidity and a lot of heat, because if you want to experience a negative impact, a big negative impact of climate change, go to any of the cities close to the equator. The ozone level there is so bad. It gets so hot there. When you step outside, the sun really, really burns. And I didn't really wear sunscreen all the time, but I didn't get burnt, which is great, because I was majorly inside. There are times I go outside, but I don't stay out for that long. Hence why I like so dark. But it's really hot there, and it doesn't help that it is a humid place because it's tropical. So when you get outside, you're gonna be sticky, you're gonna be sweaty, like that. Like, I'm not kidding. It's pretty bad. So do be prepared, especially for me and my family. We're so used to having central AC, being in a pretty dry-ish climate, especially during the summers. So heat is just dry heat. It's not too bad. Humid heat is terrible, and I remember experiencing this back in LA. Humid heat is just so nasty. But if you can survive humidity and heat at the same time, good for you. Definitely do go there. Manila is getting its act up, try to clean itself up, so it's actually a really nice place to go, as well as many of the other touristy places, and some of the places I actually do go here that are not touristy yet, but possibly will be in the next few years. So first day, relaxed, slept in the room where it was air conditioner, which was great. Amazing. Next day I was out with my brother, and then with my cousins and my aunt and uncle who came from New Zealand to also who are also on vacation in the Philippines that time. And yeah, we were just pretty much walking around some of the business districts in Manila, in the Greater Manila region, the National Capital Region as they call it. Hello, okay. Like around that area, and my god, last time I was there 13 years ago, there wasn't that much buildings. Holy shit, they've seen some rapid economic boom, because my god, there's a lot of condominiums over there, which are basically all the high-rises in Manila, I swear. Some of them are corporate buildings, to be fair, but a good majority of them are condominiums for basically foreigners as well as overseas workers to have their families stay in, and some Airbnb places for people who wants to do vacation. I know for the fact the family that came from New Zealand to visit us and the other relatives, they actually did stay in an Airbnb somewhere close by, so that was pretty cool. Never get to visit it, but it was one of those big towers, and I'm just like, damn. But it would make sense because we could barely fit in that house. There's like a lot of stuff and not enough sleeping space, so they actually ended up renting out an Airbnb. I need to get gas. I just realized that shit. Okay, we'll just keep driving. Hopefully we'll find gas. Hopefully I don't run out of gas when I'm driving. I do want to check now. A bit concerned since I passed the gas stop. Okay, I'll make it. So first day we went out, go through the one of the business areas of it's a very definitely a middle-ish high class, middle high class-ish place. We can do a lot of shopping and all that stuff because, my God, Philippines is really known for their malls and shopping and such. I know for the fact here in America, and probably some places in Europe and Asia, including the Philippines. Actually, I think about it, have gotten into the online revolution with shopping, but there, while shops are slowly dying here, shops are thriving over there in the Philippines. I'm honestly surprised. Granted, it's a bit of a mix of a first world, third world thing, but they managed to find the convenience in the small area they have. So, there's a lot of malls. If you think your place has a lot of malls, go to the Philippines. They have a lot more malls. Really, they do. Every, like, 6 to 10 kilometers, there's a mall. And then, like the big malls in the Philippines, there's, like, a bunch within, like, a 50-kilometer radius. So, I went to one of these malls, which is attached with a condominium, and they have a rooftop garden. They have like all these things. I'm like, this is a mall. They have all these things. It looks nice. Again, highly suggest follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Look through my photos. Go through my photos. Go through my profile. There's a bunch of photos I uploaded there during the trip. Definitely take a look at it. As I'm explaining through it. A good majority of what I'm telling you now will be told through those photos, but there's some things I've missed. Obviously, I don't want to tell everything on Twitter. I just like to post the pretty stuff. I'll be telling a good majority of my story here. Yeah, the malls are, like, amazing over there. Interesting to see, like, Western stores there, which would make sense because they've gone global. But also interesting to see, like, stores that I didn't expect to have stores. I explain it, but it's like if you see some products in like big box retailers like a Target, Walmart, whatever, but you don't expect them to actually have their own flagship store, like their own separate store that sells only their own products. But I guess since since there's enough mall space there, they can build their own store and hope for the best. But my God, just walking around, everything still looks so nice, so modern, only because most of those buildings were built within the past 5 to 10 years. So, you see basically everything there. But my God, everything was great walking around. And it's a nice place to just like walk around if you don't want to, if you want to beat the heat. Because those places are nicely air conditioned and everything. And thank you, car, for pulling in front of me when I'm already getting out. I'm getting down with the sickness. We walked around over there. I guess for those who are specific, for those who want to know, we first walked around SM City Ara, which is in Pasig City. If you want to end up looking it up. From there, we decided to go to Bonifacio Global City, walk through their high street, which was interesting because they call it Bonifacio High Street. Because it was interesting for me because usually the use of the name High Street is usually in Europe, like how they actually coined that term for their street there. Just basically a shopping street, more shops, a lot of things. But seeing the rapid growth over there, it's amazing. It's nice to see, but also kind of bad to see because it makes Manila very overcrowded. Like, really overcrowded. We walked around, went to a few other like places. Actually went to a casino that night as well. My God, why did I gamble some money? I lost some money. Not a lot, but I lost a little bit of money along the way. But getting around, like just basically touring whatever around Manila. The greater Manila region, and it was interesting because trying to get from place to place, my God, traffic the day before that Wednesday when everyone's traveling to the provinces and such, so much traffic. Again, like I said before, it will probably take you half an hour to an hour to just travel 10 to 15 kilometers. It's that bad. It's really that bad. But we looked around the first day, and then went home, and then went to the casino and lost money. Who never loses money in the casinos? But I need to get it back on a winning streak in the casinos. Anyways, from that Thursday and Friday, so that Good Friday and Maundy Thursday, surprised to see no traffic. The sad part is most of the stores were closed, aside from the grocery store. You need to get some groceries, but my God, it would have been so nice to just travel to places when there's no traffic on that Thursday and Friday. But you know, things. There's some good things. There's some bad things in that. Good thing there's no traffic. Bad thing there's nothing open. So me and everyone else in that house were just kind of just lounging around, trying to basically get through our days, just whatever doing. You know, most of these people are on vacation already, so either vacation or retired or working at home. So most of the people are like they're like not really working. There's not much students left in the whole extended family. Actually, most of us have actually graduated from college, and a good majority of us actually has found jobs. So that's cool. But throughout Easter, we started meeting up with more relatives and such. We started to come over to the family house. It was great to meet them, great to talk to them. It was interesting because mostly they talk Tagalog. At least I can now understand Tagalog. The sad part is I can't really talk back to them in Tagalog. I can't respond back in Tagalog. So you win some, you lose some. Hopefully one day I can actually talk in Tagalog. But that's how basically that whole Easter week happened. We just hung out, ate food, lots of food. My brother and one of my cousins decided to just order food, get food delivered, which I was surprised that they actually even delivered during those holidays, but they do. And pretty much had a fiesta over fiesta throughout that whole Easter week. And then came the first trip I ever took around the Philippines, which was going up to the north side to Pangasinan. So, visited Bolinao and Alaminos City. Bolinao is like famous for just whatever. It's actually a really nice touristy spot. It's becoming a touristy spot. You can see a lot of history there, from the very start of when the Spanish people actually decided to start coming over to the Philippines. A lot of old stuff, a lot of like 17th century and such. Definitely the churches there is like really old. We went up there, see some sightseeing stuff. There's pictures. Just look through my Twitter and Instagram. There's a lot of pictures over there. And I remember that trip because it's a 6-hour drive from Manila. The itinerary was we leave Monday midnight, so basically right after Easter, we would board a van and head up all the way to Pangasinan. That means you have to either sleep early or don't sleep at all. Most of us took the latter option and did not sleep at all. Most of them actually did end up sleeping in the van. I, for some reason, couldn't because I like sightseeing. Even if it's at night, I really do like sightseeing, especially in the Philippines, because I get to experience how driving is in the Philippines. Let's just say some of my extended aunts and uncles were right. Those who came from the Philippines and tried to get their license here, that they instantly fail. Because drivers there are pretty erratic. I mean, I would have to get some experience to drive in the Philippines because they have a different behavior compared to basically the rest of the first world countries like United States, Canada, and so on and so forth. Like at least here we use our signals to try to merge lanes and such, try to behave road rules, try not to be too erratic. Over there, you're fending for yourself. If you want to get to a place, you better be ready to get to that place, because otherwise it would take you forever to get there, because there are a lot of slow moving vehicles, especially outside of Manila. There's a lot of slow moving vehicles that likes to take up the whole road. Not so much trucks actually, but mostly tricycles, which is a motorcycle with a sidecar, or buses or jeepneys. Like, they take up the road, but they do that for a living because they gotta make the money, and they gotta transport people and stuff. But you have to be very brave in order to hopefully pass them so you can continue on your way to your destination. So we're just like passing through a bunch of towns, bunch of cities at night. Thank God there wasn't a lot of traffic because of it. Sadly, there weren't many like these big freeways like right here. I'm playing on Euro Truck, and hell, even American Truck. There was not much big freeways. There's only that one big expressway that goes ever so far before you hit the 2-lane road, and then you'll be driving that for like another 4 or 5 hours. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. But their road network is not fully developed unlike other nations. Hopefully one day it will actually get fully developed like that. That'll be cool. But you know, you can only convince much people to actually do such things like that. But we got to Ballin now about 6 hours later. 6 in the morning, sun is rising. It's getting pretty hot at that point in time. And I'm just like tired as fuck. Also didn't help that I was slightly sniffly that time. Not fully sick, but slightly sniffly nonetheless. So getting around was kind of just bleh. Very bleh. But we got to Ballin now, saw some stuff, ate some food at 7-Eleven because we don't know where to have breakfast options sometimes. So when in doubt, trust a 7-Eleven, where it's actually a convenience store. Thank you, Philippines, for understanding the idea of the convenience store. My God. But went around Ballin now. Again, pictures. There's Ballin Falls. There was the lighthouse. Not lighthouse. Watchtower. Watchtower or lighthouse? Lighthouse is better. Lighthouse. There's also Enchanted Cave. Again, photos. Just look at my photos. We also ate lunch on the river as a cruise. Again, pictures up on over there. Just look at. It was really cool. That was a pretty fun trip, even if a little bit sniffly. There was one incident along the way when we're going around Ballin now. Some asshole decided to drive really fast downhill on a very narrow road, and this road was recently paved, but they didn't build the shoulder, so it's pavement and it just drops down. Our driver tried to avoid the sharp, the no shoulder, and that van. Sadly, we did get stuck. Stuck because he decided to just let the van go through because it was not stopping. So we ended up getting stuck. It took us about 20 minutes to try to get out of that ditch. But we managed to get out. Didn't need the additional help. He did call in for additional help, but we managed to get out pretty easily. It just took a bit of extra time. The extra time wasn't so bad. But had lunch and then headed towards Alaminos City to go visit the 100 Islands the next day, because by the time we got to Alaminos it was like 4 o'clock, and they don't do boat shuttles till basically the next day. They stop around like 6 and they just stop for the rest of the day, for the whole night. But we got to 100 Islands, checked into a hotel. Why was that so hard to say, I swear? Got checked into a hotel and then rest until the power went out. Because thank you, Mom, for saying, what happens if the power goes out? The power goes out. The thing is, the reason why the power went out was because of a really big earthquake that happened in Pampanga, which is right between Pangasinan and Manila. Apparently Manila really felt the aftershocks. Over in Pangasinan, nothing. Surprisingly nothing. So I have yet to experience an earthquake. But the power went out. Luckily they had a generator, so they were able to bring the power back on about like 20 minutes later. Eventually everything started coming back on once everything was stable. And everything, we just went fine. We got dinner, then relaxed, went to sleep because we had to go to sleep early in order to go to the 100 Islands. Again, photos. Went there on a very tiny boat. You're definitely gonna get splashed if you try to go to the 100 Islands. Wear summer clothes. Wear some shorts, slippers, or sandals, whatever. slip-ons, and be ready to get wet, because you will get wet throughout that ride. There was some pretty rough waves in some sections, but it was a pretty fun ride nonetheless. Took lots of pictures. There's a lot of cool things over there. Again, look, Twitter and Instagram, I'm gonna keep promoting it. Just look over there. It's a pretty place. It has seen some tourism. Again, this was booked. Actually, I should have said this before. This trip was booked by my uncle through a tour company. Apparently, it's one of their own tour companies, sister tour companies, I think, like that, something like that. But it's slowly becoming a touristy spot. Mostly through the locals. I haven't seen much foreigners, like true foreigners. There's like a handful, but not a lot of foreigners have yet to see this spot. Hopefully one day, maybe one day, sometime down the line, it starts to become more and more famous, just like how Boracay became a world famous resort location, like a beach city and such, beach island. One day, maybe the 100 Islands and Alameda City will probably get more famous, because I know they get a lot of vans, they get a lot of touristy people, but mostly locals, mostly Filipinos, coming from wherever, whenever, but slowly getting there. I saw the islands, nice, pretty waters, really great place to go swimming. If you really like to relax on a beach like that, I mean, it's not, it probably ain't Boracay, but it's pretty nice. Definitely suggest going there. Definitely go get a guide, go through a tour, and get a tour guide, and have them drive there. You could drive there as well. You drive there yourself as well, but I think it would be better if you ride with a tour guide, because it would make everything a lot easier. Wish I remembered their names. The name of their tour their tour. But that trip was great. After 100 Islands, we went straight back to Manila, faced the Manila traffic, but managed to get home in about like 9 hours time. And everything was great. Like thank God I was able to go and experience that with my other family, with my aunts, uncles, and cousins that joined. I probably would have never done it, but now after doing that trip, I probably would want to do it again, going to a new place, maybe somewhere up north, maybe sometimes somewhere down south. There's like a lot of fun places to visit in the Philippines. That was definitely, I'd say that's a check mark. I didn't expect to remove off to a check mark on a list I didn't expect to have on that list, but I'm glad I've experienced that. It would be nice to go there again one day, hopefully more prepared, but I would definitely suggest, if you want to go to a lesser known place in the Philippines, like unlike Boracay and Bohol and all that other stuff, I definitely would recommend to go to Pangasinan, Bolinao, Alaminos City, 100 Islands, all that stuff. Definitely take that trip. It's a really nice place. Go there before it becomes very touristy. From there, we were staying about. We're there for like after that trip, we're just pretty much lounging around at home. There were some times we did go to other malls, like SM Mall of Asia, which is supposed to be suggested as the biggest mall in the Philippines. It has been overtaken by a lot of other malls, but it is situated on the Manila Bay. It's a very picturesque mall. Definitely, I would say. Definitely say it's a picturesque mall. Wow, I passed that completely. I'm gonna make a U-turn right there. Very picturesque mall because it's right on the Manila Bay. There's you can get a really good sunset picture. Tried to get it. Again on Instagram. Look it up. Look it over there. But it's a great place to shop. I mean, many of the places in Manila or any city, it's a great place to shop. But definitely suggest going to also Mall of Asia because pretty nice mall. Bit indoor, bit half indoor, half outdoor, so be prepared to experience some heat, but definitely go there like towards like the sunset time because it actually looks really cool, really nice. Aside from that, we decided to like just sometimes stay at home because during that time, while it was a vacation, my mom and my dad actually had some stuff to do there, especially for their teeth. They know a really good dentist over there, and it's definitely cheaper to get teeth fixed, straightened, and everything over there compared to here. Even with insurance, I'm honestly surprised about that, but it's true. I've heard. So they had to do that, so we pretty much had more downtime at home, and such, but we still had time to just like explore around, most of Manila and such. Tea. Why can't I enter? Oh. There we go. There we go. Let's see. But while they were finishing up to get their teeth, we were also planning one more trip. This was to visit my mom's hometown over in the island of Panay, in Visayas region. If you don't know where Panay is, that also hosts the famous island Boracay. Or at least, not really on island of Panay. It's actually in a different island, somewhere, not Caticlan, I don't remember the island. That's your gateway to Boracay, that island of Panay. But we're mostly going to be visiting more of the extended relatives, at least on my mom's side. Didn't have time to visit those on my dad's side, sadly. But we had to book a trip over there, so we had to book a plane ride over to Rojas City, up in down in the Visayas region, which we were flying Cebu Pacific. Now, there's probably no worldwide news, but definitely in the Philippine news there is some controversy with Cebu Pacific. They were having a hard time doing balancing their budget and trying to meet with demand of passengers and such. In turn, they started canceling a bunch of flights during that whole 3 weeks we were there. Thank God the flights we booked did not get canceled. I feel sad for the others that do get canceled, but I've heard that most of those flights were the second, third, fourth flights from that city. So no matter what, you can reschedule for an earlier or later flight in that area, and you wouldn't have too much of a problem. They're basically canceled their extra flights during that time. So our flights didn't get canceled, thank God. Because we booked those like 2 weeks before, and they started canceling that 1 week before. I think again, at least it did. And so after my parents got their teeth fixed, cleaned, everything, we were about to get ready to go to my mom's place, which was who only went were me, my mom, and my aunt. My dad did not want to go. He convinced himself not to go because he just really didn't like the weather at all. Since it was too hot for him, he just rather just stay home, try to just relax it out. Hopefully, eventually go home. He did convince us to try. He was going to try and leave earlier. Sadly, he wasn't able to, so he left with us towards on the same days that we left. By the time we went to Panay, my brother and my cousins from New Zealand has already left because they have work. They were only able to stay there for 2 weeks. It was only just me, my aunt, and my mom going to Panay with a 4 o'clock in the morning flight. So, God, I didn't get enough sleep during that time as well. I swear, I've had like a severe lack of sleep for those few days in the Philippines. But we got to the airport, kept checking the flights, see if they started adding more flights to adding more cancellation flights. Again, thank God they didn't. Got checked in, got through security. Didn't have to worry about extra like weight problems or anything because we did prepay for checked luggage for one checked luggage for my mom because she was bringing some gifts back to my other relatives over there. So she said, yeah, go add a checked baggage. We'll pay for it. I was like, okay. So we didn't have to worry too much with carry-on and such. But waited for the flight that was supposed to leave at 4. We got to the airport around like 1, so it was a pretty long wait. So I was like so tired. I wanted to go to sleep, but I got a bit paranoid with our luggage that was just around there, and they were going to sleep. I was like, okay, I'm gonna stay awake. I don't want to like see the baggage, like go to sleep and then realize our baggage is gone. I mean, who would steal baggage in the airport? But you might not know who. Some people will. So we waited and waited, and then boarding time calls. Went to the gate, realizing that we don't have an actual gate, but we're boarding by bus to the plane with the stairs. So that was actually my first time actually boarding a plane like that in like a long time. I'm usually used to boarding via the gate. Granted, I haven't really flown that much aside from that trip, like the big trip to the Philippines. Last time I flew was 2008 to Las Vegas, so. But we managed to get on the plane. Pretty full flight, so they require more gate check-ins and such. But got on the plane. Surprisingly took off on time, because apparently Cebu Pacific was also known for their very late flights. But if you're leaving early in the morning, you're pretty bang on time. And we were pretty early landing too, actually, in Rojas City. But we took off from Manila. No traffic whatsoever. Trying to take off. Took off, hit a bit of turbulence. Thank you, Manila. But got flying. They started serving some food. Now it was funny because while I was adding the checked bag for my mom, I also decided to order some food just in case, because I knew for the fact that we were gonna get hungry and I didn't want to trust like some of the food there. And I was curious, actually, I was didn't want to trust the food in the airport, which is weird to say. I also wanted to try some of the budgeted foods they actually do have, because usually the foods that you buy on airplanes like this for a low cost carrier, sometimes they're usually better than the ones included. Sometimes. This time it was actually pretty good. Got a sandwich, got a Japanese chicken mayo sandwich, which is actually pretty decent. Really big though. But they were surprised that I actually ordered this, and then they were kind of like, "You shouldn't have done this. You wasted money." But it's like, I wasted like $10. I really did waste $10 for just 3 people to get food ordered for us each way. So it was like $20 in total. So it wasn't so bad. And actually, I did order the same thing going the other direction because, oops, I should have switched the orders. Oh well. Luckily, we actually did order food for that other flight back. But anyways, I'll get to that later. But ordered the food. We didn't eat the food because we actually did in the airport, because some stalls did open up. They were closed when we got there, but they started opening up for the flights were starting to go in during that morning. So we got our food. I decided to just get the drink and just drink it, because man, I was so thirsty. But after getting the food, I looked outside. It was like my flight to Taipei. Oh my god, so beautiful, because sunrise. And then a quick 40 minutes later, we're already starting to go down and then land in Rojas City, like bang on time, if not early. Then from there, got off the plane, got our luggage, which wasn't so bad because it was just only that flight there that morning. So you're only the only obstacle you're facing is you and the 100 or so passengers that actually flew to Ross that morning on that plane. We got our luggage, then we had to get a taxi to get to my mom's place, which is about an hour away from Rojas City. So it was a pretty long taxi ride in a sense. Not long in terms of distance per se, but long in terms of time, because there's no freeways in that island. It's just all 2-lane roads. But we got there. We got the taxi. Got some breakfast, got the taxi, and then we headed towards to my mom's hometown. And it was amazing to go there. Last time I was there, again, 13 years ago. Oddly enough, 13 years ago when I was there. I'm gonna get gas before I forget. But it's interesting to see not only it was fun to see the rapid growth change in Manila, but it was more interesting seeing the growth, the changes happening in my mom's place, in like mom's hometown. Because they're just a small town, but they're starting to become very more up to date, becoming bigger, becoming eventually like a city in a way. But it's still a town. For them. I mean, I don't think it'll ever get to a city, but it's getting there. It's becoming, like, it's almost becoming on. There's a lot of projects going around there. Like, a lot of building projects. So, hopefully the next time I go to visit my mom's hometown, those will be done. It will be interesting to see how much has come over there. But it was also nice to experience the very simple life that my mom had growing up in her hometown with her brothers and sisters and extended families and such. It was a very interesting experience to see. Like, it was very emotional in a way. Not really, like, I wasn't like crying or anything, but really like made me think of how much I take for granted here in America, with like electricity like that. This is like a basic utility for us. Electricity, water, hell, even having a computer and a working internet connection just to do this, or go on YouTube, go on Facebook, like that. There, it's still, at least in my mom's hometown, it's still seen as luxury to them. It has yet to become a basic utility for them. So it was interesting to see that most of the places there doesn't run on central water. There's no pipes or anything like that. Everything was run through a well system. But over there, it's pretty expensive to build an electronic well system. Everything is all hand cranked. Everything is all manpower. So there's like really no. You have to really spend a lot of money if you want to like get that water up and be used like normally as in a home like this. That costs a lot of money, and for them, they would not want to spend that much money for that. And honestly, I wouldn't blame them either if I was only making so much money over there, because living there, you're not making that much per se compared to either if you're living in the big city like Manila or even here. You're making very minimum wage, not a lot of money, and such. So you gotta like really stretch out your resources. But they live fine. They live normally. They live comfortably. For me, at first I think maybe back when I was like 12, I felt like that was like, why did I not have this? I probably was arrogant back then. Granted, I was only 12, so makes sense. Children complaining, like it's a very first world problem. But experiencing that there, it really opened my eyes to see that you can't really take a lot of things for granted. You shouldn't take things for granted. Things that are given to you, you should like admire it that you actually do have it, because some other people don't. Like some other people don't. They do have electricity there, but it's not as stable like here in like a developed world, and like in like the United States and like that, where everything has been developed, everything has been tried to tested. They're still trying to get their way. They can't really they don't really make their own electricity, so they have to buy it in from somewhere. So it's expensive for them. So, and their infrastructure is not as great as ones here. So they do experience brownouts, blackouts, and such. So it's a stark contrast compared to living here. I wouldn't say it's like truly poor, because they live within their means and they don't have a problem with it. Like, they're not expecting much about it. Where are you talking about? I'm sorry, I just stopped in. Oh, I'm just talking about like my trip to the Philippines. I was a little context here of what I'm talking about was I was visiting my mom's hometown back in the Philippines, which is um, not really in like the big one of the big cities. They're pretty small town. And I realized that there is a stark difference living over there in my mom's hometown compared to where I live here in the United States. So I'm just like giving like trying to like explain the experience I actually experienced when I was over there, seeing the differences and such, um, and how you shouldn't really take things for granted, like electricity, water, central water, and all that stuff. Um, so just being there, it really opened my eyes. For, oh yeah, definitely my friend Paco. Paco, I think I'm saying it right. I always pronounce his name wrong. It was from the Philippines. Has family that lives there. Ah, okay. Yeah. It's a different. It's very different living compared to, say, like again, United States, Canada, UK, like that, where everything. I say everything is a lot simpler, but it only makes sense for them because they know that's how they live. They don't live with like with um within a lot of means. They actually just live with what they have. Let's go stick a 10th gear, not 11th gear for once. Um, so it was eye opening for me because I'm just so used to just having all this as a basic thing, and I'm always run into very first world problems. But going there, it was a different story, to say the least. But it was fun because I also get to meet a lot of extended cousins, a lot of extended family, aunts and uncles over there. It was great. A lot of family lot of parties when I was over there. I swear. Now you have a point. Kids in third world countries are usually pretty content with where they live, but it's heartbreaking to see. It really is. Like if view it like again how I view it, I thought like it's a dire problem. There's something should be fixed, but how I see it, at least my mom's hometown specifically, I feel like that they should take their change like they should progress through change and such in their own way. They shouldn't be fully spoon fed by other people, because they might not get used to that. It's something they would have to get used to. If they're not ready to get used to it, I would not want to spoon feed them and say, "Hey, do this because this is how the rest of the world does it." That's pretty mean. Like to say the least, that's pretty mean. But it's nice to see that most of them are content. None of them are complaining none of them complaining about government being too stupid. Granted, I hear a lot of Philippine politics, but I do not want to get into the political sense that's going over there. It's just as bad as many other countries nowadays with politics, but I don't see them fully complaining that they're not being supported, but I'm also not seeing that they're being spoon-fed things to say, "Hey, do this," because everyone else is doing it. So it was a different view in my eyes, but it was also great to meet with a lot of people and a lot of cousins and aunts and uncles that I have either haven't met in a long time or have never met at all. My God, that was a lot. But it was great to meet with them. And then there was also another reason we actually left my mom's hometown to go to another part of my mom's hometown. They move a lot of places because extended families are a thing over there. But they were having a reunion and we were invited, so I was like, okay, we'll go. We'll go visit them for like a night or two, for a few nights. And so we did. And it was a really nice place. How do I explain it? I had it in my head and I already forgot it. So where my other relatives live, it's a very extended family. I can't keep track of anyone. Even after meeting all of them, I don't even know like a good majority of them. I don't know most of their names still. I try, but it's how it is. Hell, even my mom, tries to remember them. She remembers some, but she doesn't remember all of them. But this place is actually right by the water, so right by the sea, I think. It's not the ocean. I definitely, for the fact, it's not the ocean. But I know one thing: where they live, comparative to the big touristy spot in the Philippines, Boracay, they're pretty close. But it's interesting to see clear waters, not really sandy beaches because it was mostly rocks over there, but it was great to see the clear water over there. See, again, stark contrast between life here, the busyness that we experience here in where I live, at least personally, compared to their simple, quiet, very quiet life. And it's great to just admire it a lot. And also great to meet with cousins I haven't met before, and suddenly my Facebook decides to start being spammed by friend requests. But glad to know I am probably the only imported, if not the only imported person there. So that was great, and it sucks that I can't speak their language, but I try. Is there usually a big difference between tourist areas and normal citizen areas? I've never been to other countries. I've always wanted to, but never had the means. Imported. There's some depends on a few places. At least in the Philippines, I did experience a pretty big difference. I haven't necessarily been to Boracay just yet, so I can't really say on that. But in terms of other touristy areas, and especially big cities in the Philippines, compared to I'd say country life, it's basically country life, even though they're on islands and such. It is a stark contrast. There is a big difference between the lives of those who live in touristy or big cities versus the north, where most of the natives live. Again, like the big difference, or at least over there, is usually like electricity, water. You can see how they get their electricity and water is a really big difference. Some places in even the big city actually doesn't even have central water. They're trying to build that up, but you're mostly experiencing just basic utility stuff there, while out in basically the middle of nowhere in a sense. But out there, you don't really experience that much privilege in a way of getting that basic utility. You have to either really pay for it or try to make your way to get that, because I would say they wouldn't be able to afford such a thing compared to what they pay for. So they make their ways, they make their means of how they get things. But it's definitely different of how how people in bigger tourist areas get things. Because they also, I guess the other big difference is also the economy, because if you're in a big touristy area, your economy is followed through tourism. So you get more money through tourism rather than those who live in a normal town or city like that doesn't get tourism. So the money flow and everything like that, it's a complete difference. So how they get money, how they build infrastructure and that stuff, it's a stark contrast, definitely. If I say compared to America, it's a bigger difference there in the Philippines than here in America when it comes to infrastructure and type of living. Because I don't really see much. I don't see that big of a difference coming to a big city compared to a normal suburban or town life. Compared there, it's almost night and day. That's a beautiful term. I didn't hit anything. We're good. But it was great to meet all the cousins, all the aunts, all the people who barely understands English, as I've noticed. Um, but they speak a very they speak their native language. They actually don't speak the national language as much. So a very big language divide for me. So, but I had a fun time trying to understand, try to have a fun time getting to know them. It was great. So like a larger class divide, you mean? Yeah, like definitely. Like the class divide is pretty real. Like at least in the Philippines, a lot of people would want to move to the big city, like Manila, and I think eventually starting to become like Cebu, Davao, all that stuff. They would want to live in the big city because that's where the money is. That's how they bring the money back to the families back in their hometowns. So it's a pretty big difference comparatively. Like you definitely will see a big class divide. But they make their way. Sometimes they do actually visit those big cities and they have a fun time because they manage to save enough money for it. Just hopefully nothing bad happens to them. That's always a thing because things do happen in the Philippines. Let me just say that. But thank God I haven't experienced it while I was there. It was still a fun trip nonetheless. Meeting everyone, go visiting places. Hopefully it doesn't take another 13 years to go back to the Philippines, because that's a really long gap for me, and I want to actually visit the Philippines once again. Hopefully maybe in like 2020. I know my dad is trying to convince me to go to Christmas 2020, so we'll see. Christmas is great in the Philippines. You should go there. Also, good morning, Dragon. I know it's already I can math this. 6 o'clock in the morning, almost 6 o'clock in the morning. But welcome. I did stream a little bit late, but I'm still going. Trying to explain the rest of my trip, which I'll hopefully tell you personally. One day. One day. Hopefully soon, because I actually want to really talk about it. I kind of generalized it, but it was just great to meet a lot of my cousins, aunts, extended family over my mom's hometown, home island, basically. And then seeing the big difference, the big class divide of, hello, bus, come on. Seeing the big class divide between people living in a big city and people living in, like, small towns like that. But that trip was, trip to my mom's hometowns was pretty short-lived. I was only there for 3 days, 2 nights. That bus must have needed insurance money. Probably, because, God, I had to stop. Yeah, that trip didn't last too long. I wish it lasted longer, but my mom only wanted to stay there for 3 days. But I also think it was probably just enough. I don't know. I'm having a little bit of a divide on it. But again, it was great to meet them. Hopefully I meet them again, because, man, they really convinced me that, hey, you should come visit us again soon. It's like, I'll try. I want to meet the rest of the people and all that stuff and actually be accustomed to speaking the language and such. One day I'll learn. One day I need to get to fully understand and speak Tagalog, and then one day I'll learn the native languages, because, my God, there's a big difference between the national language and the native languages. Oh boy. And it doesn't help that there's a bunch of native language. There's quite a bit of native languages in the Philippines. Yeah. Anyways, but went back 3 days later, flew back to Manila, flew back to the big city, and my God, I think that was the only time I actually experienced the bad side of Manila, or at least the airport, because one, there was air traffic. Actually, there was like a little bit of air traffic, but a whole lot of problems trying to get to a gate, because all the gates were filled. They couldn't figure out where to put our plane, and so they parked our plane somewhere, and we had to board the bus again. Yet 2 of the buses got full, and we had to wait for a third one for like quite a while. GG, thank you, Cebu Pacific. But I'm not gonna be blaming them, because while there was some controversy with Cebu Pacific, they're actually a pretty decent airliner for what it is. They're a pretty decent low-budget airliner. Would definitely recommend riding it compared to the national carrier Philippine Airlines if you need to save some money. Must be real cool in its own way having family in another country. Ooh, okay. My fiance has family in the UK and I want to go meet them so bad. Oh, that'd be so fun. One day. Like, really, in a sense, one day. Okay. I'll let you guys keep talking as I continue on. Let's turn. Come on, I could drive. So, crazy airport stuff. I blame ground staff at NAIA, at the Manila International Airport, for being so crazy. Manila does definitely need a second airport because I don't think it can handle that much capacity of everyone in a good majority of the Philippines trying to fly there. They need the second airport. I'm sorry, Twitch must be here for this game. Have to read a text chat. I know. Text driving is no good. Oh, I've done this for about a year. It's actually really hard to do it on a wheel. I've actually used to play on a controller, and usually that's okay. On a wheel, it's a little bit more difficult now. I could kind of see why, but it's just like I'll get used to it. I do text and drive all the time, though. I mean, there's not that much repercussions compared to driving in real life and text and driving in real life. Please don't do that. PSA: please don't do that in real life. Do it here when you like. Sure, you might feel like you killed some people, but there's not that much heavy repercussions. That's a pretty bad thing to say, anyways. Like that. See, did that so well. Oh shit. Hello. We're good. It's the only time I've actually gone through pretty bad driving right now. I could answer most of these questions. I'll let Dragon answer, even though it's pretty dang early in the morning over there. And no, I'm scared to take the wheels. I know, right? What wheel do I have? I have so this is like one of the PS4 wheels. It's a Thrustmaster P80, I think. It's like one of like a budget wheels that you just kind of have to program itself, because this doesn't really turn fully. I should not have done that. That was bad. And now I have big damage on my truck. Oops. But this is a pretty decent wheel. It's no G27, G29 like the Logitech ones, but it's doable for what I'm doing right now. Okay, come on, truck, let's go. We are going pretty slow. So hell on the airport. It's funny because 40-minute flight, yet 3 hours to get back home because airport to home was a hassle and a half. Thanks, Manila Airport. Please get better one day. Nice. Thrustmasters aren't bad. I use the G29 with 6-speed shifter. I want to one day get a G29 with a shifter. But I said, I want to at least try wheel and pedals. And I've actually really liked it. It makes the experience of driving in Truck Simulator so much better. But one day when I have the money, I would want to have like a G29. So I know those are pretty expensive, but I'll save it up one day. That sounds like me after Berlin. Took 1.5 hours to fly, took 2.5 hours to get home. Like, actually though, also screw Terminal 3 baggage process for Cebu Pacific, because why do you put all the bags from Cebu Pacific into one carousel? Yeah, that was great. Really should. G29 is fantastic. The feedback is see, that's the only thing I don't get with this wheel is the feedback. My God, I would feel everything on the road and like that. That would be so nice. I should really speed up. And also shows I should also repair my truck because it's at 34%. You can't see it here because I have telemetry data on my iPad right now, and it's great to have. Oh yeah, it's hard to budget and plan for things like that. But once you get to Europe, well, right now it's surprising. Oh, I want to. Wait, oh shit. One day, I'll get myself to Europe before Brexit happens. Hopefully Brexit doesn't happen soon. Please keep delaying Brexit, Theresa May. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. I don't know. That's still politics I don't want to talk about, really. But yeah, but I managed to get home, and then from there, by the time I got home, it was like about 3 days before I actually leave the Philippines. So I was just basically me and my mom were just like packing our stuff up. My mom was like buying some last minute things to bring over there with her friends. I wish I brought more stuff and such, but I was already running with limited money because some money was given to aunts and uncles when I was visiting them in my mom's hometown. Because why not? Be charitable to them. That's how I see it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. But just relaxing, packing up, trying to figure out what to pack because while we brought 6 luggages technically, as my brother already left, 6 luggages and 3 carry-ons, some of the bags have gone to my aunts, so we were left with, in total for 3 passengers, 5 check-in luggages and 2 carry-ons. So that was interesting to say the least. I really should. Gotta get here before Halloween, dude. Okay, good. Now I have a date. Okay, I'm gonna try. I hope I have a job because, man, it would be nice to just have a job just so I could fly myself over there. Because as much as I want to put on a credit card, I really don't want to. It's my only other way. I do want to visit and go to places. I'll keep that in mind. I actually really want to convince myself now. I want to go. Damn it. I want to start traveling because, man, the Philippines travel. I guess to kind of end it off with that whole trip. We got stuff packed, managed to fit everything in somehow, and managed to be underweight because airlines does have a strict weight policy. But managed to get every bag under the max weight, which was great. Compared to seeing of all the stuff that was brought back, I was surprised. But we were starting to fly back to San Francisco, back via Taipei, and my God, my God, told you were able to do that. Let's drive straight, Daryl, and not hit that brake. If you're looking for a job and type, well, I work at freelance in a company called Rev. I do closed captioning. Ooh, wow. Like subtitles for TV shows and movies. Pays more than the minimum wage here, and a couple of dollars US. A couple of dollars USD, and it's really fun as well. Oh, neat. I'll look into it. I'll definitely look into that. I know I do have like one interview lined up for tomorrow on the phone. But still looking for a job. Still jobless after a year. Hence why I've been doing Truck and Talk Thursdays. It's my way to talk about life and such as I'm still finding a job. It's a great way to tell how my job hunt, but it's also a great way to like basically more or less vlog my experience, even though it's a live stream. It does get uploaded to YouTube, so there's that. But every Thursday I have to return. Yeah, I do. Usually stream every Thursday. Hopefully I'm gonna get back into just streaming every Thursday. Do bounce back and forth between times for Truck and Talk. Sometimes I do stream at night. Usually at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard. But sometimes I do EU friendly time, so that's about 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Which is 7 o'clock GMT. So I do change up the times, but I do try to stream every Thursday, and I try to upload these VODs onto YouTube, or this live stream onto YouTube by like Tuesday and such. Okay. I guess let me really just finish that trip. Um, but yeah, got into the airport and managed to get checked in, everything easily. Checked in, went through security, immigration, and such. The thing is, we were like delayed again for another hour or so because it started raining. It was like the first time in a very long time that the whole Philippine region actually got rain, because it was an El Nino, so it was super dry. But that day was downpour and lightning, which is like a great combination for a flight back to San Francisco. Thanks, Mother Nature. I love you too. Um. But we were delayed for about an hour. There was like literally a freak rainstorm by the time we were boarding. I'm just like, oh, pray to God we were able to fly off so we don't miss our connection to San Francisco. Cause, dear Lord, that was some rain. That was some lightning. There was some pretty dark clouds over there. I'm not gonna try. I have a hard time turning around, and I really want to get this truck repaired because idiot me decided to just drive off to something. I hope there's a repair supply in Uppsala. Uppsala. Oh, right there. I have to go far. Yeah, Nightbot gave me a T. Yee. Thank you, Nightbot, for setting that up. Thank you for setting that, Nightbot. Hey, the rain is returning today, and I'm sad. It was super sunny and warm week. Dude, here in California, it just started raining again. I'm just like, why? It was downpour, and apparently it's gonna be a downpour this Saturday. I'm just like, it's May. It should be warm. No, it's raining. Oh God. Okay. This is gonna be great. Let's see if I know how to do this. Let's not do it in 8th gear though. But it was raining like cats and dogs over there in the Philippines, and I think I might have brought that rain all the way over here to California. I swear, because it was raining just like that. A bit colder, but just like that. Where do I enter? Oh, please don't be hurt. Okay. But it was raining cats and dogs, like literally. Not really cats and dogs, but you know what I mean. That metaphor. It was torrential rain. I thought that flight was going to be canceled, but thank God it let up a bit and we were able to fly off to Taipei. Didn't miss the connection, thank God, but it was a very short connection to Taipei. I wish I was there longer, so I actually wanted to go shopping, but not only we had a short connection, but everything was starting to close down because it was already 11 o'clock at night over there. So I was like, fuck it. Gets downstairs, gets ready to board, gets on the flight, which thank God I managed to change the seats that I got with the flight with the travel agency. Managed to not only got a good view going back, even though it was a 10-hour flight that had some sunrise that was really bright and I was so tired, but it was behind a bulkhead seat with the bathroom, yet there was enough space to recline. So it was a great time to just sleep right there and just relax. And that was a really good flight going back there. At least with both EVA Airways and Cebu Pacific, it did not sour my experience to fly planes again. So hopefully in the future I would want to just fly to places and travel to places by airplane again. I'm not as scared. I thought I would be scared flying planes. This time I'm really excited if I want to go on another plane ride. Hopefully to London, Dragon. Hopefully to London, but I'm willing to ride the planes again to get to places. Also, thank you, BK. I really want to go say insert text here, BK, but thank you for the follow. Thank you for following. God, I don't know what to say anymore because it's been a while since I've streamed. It's actually been about 4 weeks. It's been about a month since I last streamed. Daryl, that's a lie. You streamed on Monday, but it's been a while since I've done Chuck and Talk, so. You do have free logic here, bro. And groceries are cheap. I know. But flights, I need to keep looking for an actual good date before October. I looked at late August and September, and I'm just like, why is it that much? But I'll try and save up the money because I still want to go. and plus a lot of other things. But thank you for all the pilots in Eva Airways and Cebu Pacific to make my riding experience in an airplane a positive one. Definitely would want to ride planes again, because past 13 years I've always been on car rides and train rides, never really flew places, but with that I am now open to travel now more with planes and such. Maybe one day in business class. If I saved enough money, I would want to fly business class. That's a big statement, but that's how it is. But got home, managed to get home, managed to settle. Still experiencing some jet lag. I still have yet to get a normal sleeping time. Hopefully by this weekend or next week I'll have a better sleeping time, because I've been sleeping at like 4 o'clock in the morning more often than not, and it's really terrible. And then I wake up at like noon, so hopefully I'll fix that. Must go through, bud. Go though, bud. So have a good evening and such. We'll chat later. Yeah, alright. No worries. Yeah, hi. With the sleep jet lag. But yeah, hopefully I'll talk to you later. I actually will be ending the stream now. I've been going on for about 2 hours, mumbling my whole trip to the Philippines. Hopefully there's some cohesive statements by me explaining my whole trip in the Philippines and such. I also realized that I really talked the first half for a bit long and made my second half real short. I need to learn how to talk better next time, Dragon. I'm not gonna like ear you for 3 hours that time. That was hard. I'll get better at being a storyteller. Have a good night. You also have a good night, BK. And hopefully see you soon. Definitely. I will. Yeah, I do stream Mondays and Thursdays. Not only follow me here, but I guess I gotta do links real quick. Come on. Not only follow me there, also go follow me on Twitter. I usually post whenever I stream. Usually, sometimes I do forget. Go follow me on Twitter. Also go follow me on YouTube. Hopefully one day I need to get my video blog back up. I know I'm missing a video. I don't think I'll uploading Friday, but for the most part, these Truck and Talk Thursdays are uploaded on YouTube every Tuesday. I do have an archive of about 30 or so episodes so far. I did skip a few weeks for valid reasons, including this trip. But I do have archives of Truck and Talk, so if you ever want to see me, how I progress through this game, both Euro Truck and American Truck, and see what I talk about, you can go there too. I have that. Plus other videos I do upload. I did also say this a bunch of times around. If you want to see photos from the Philippines of what I've took, like a variety of things I've took, my flight, the Philippines in general, you do follow me on Instagram. Go through that profile. I have a lot of pictures there. Hopefully in the near future I'll be able to take more pictures. But thank you to those who actually did tune in for the 2-hour ramble-a-thon of my trip to the Philippines. It's been great. I'm glad to get that all over with. Again, there's like a little bit more of a storyline in my Twitter and Instagram, for the most part. I'm pretty sure I've explained most if not all my trip in the Philippines. Next week I might be doing EU-friendly Truck and Talk Thursday. I will have to talk to a certain person about that if they want to do it. Otherwise, I'll see you Monday for whatever game I'm playing. I don't remember what I'm going to be playing next week. Usually Mondays are just a variety stream. I just stream whatever game comes to mind. Usually not Truck Sim, because I usually reserve that for Thursdays, for Truck and Talk Thursdays. And hopefully one day maybe I'll stream more. We'll see. If I have nothing to do in June, maybe I'll change up my schedule again. But I'm not going to promise on that just yet. Dragon, if you heard that, I think you have some writing to do. I don't know. I'm kidding. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you guys next time, either Monday for whatever I be streaming Monday, or Thursday for more Truck and Talk Thursdays. This is Ben Waits. Okay, there we go. See ya! Bye! My god, it's been 2 hours. It's been a while since I've done that. See you guys next time. Bye! Where's the end? Shit. I know how to stream. Bye.